right, we are live. Huzzah. Hey, chat room. We're doing a little bit of a pre-show here while we set up. Let you see behind the curtain for, like 5 minutes before we're ready to go.
Behind the curtain.
Yeah, so how's everybody doing tonight?
Meh. No, I'm just kidding. Age of Ultron. People have seen it before us.
Europe saw it like a whole week before everybody.
Yeah, but that's Europe. You know how expensive it is to go to Europe to see a movie?
That's true. They've really raised the prices. It's like $15 or something.
Well, it costs a lot of money to go to Europe. I'm pretty sure Josh doesn't live in Europe, and he was telling me that he saw it this afternoon. He's like, I don't know if I should go see Age of Ultron. And I'm like, go see it, you madman.
I think I'm going tomorrow night, maybe.
Yeah, Ashley and I are planning to go tomorrow at 3, I think.
Oh, no, I don't want Windows Media Player. No. The double-click mistake is real. Oh, that's going to be loading for 10 minutes.
The movie is worth going to Europe to see it, and we're not spoiling it. Although, mind you, the marketing machine probably spoiled like 3/4 of the movie for you. They like have new clips out every week.
I haven't seen any trailers, anything.
Really?
Yeah.
You're just going solely based on the fact that Captain America is
exactly Captain America's in it. Pfft, sold. Don't need to see anything else.
Captain America's pretty gorgeous.
He is a dreamboat.
I think Thor is pretty good too. Oh, Val agrees with me. Yeah, I think it's the long hair that bothers some people.
No, like, I don't find him that attractive as a. Wait, this is gonna sound wrong. I was gonna say I don't find him that attractive as a person, but I'm sure he's a very lovely person. But I mean, like Chris Hemsworth in general, I don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it for me.
No?
No.
I don't see the difference between Chris Evans and like Liam Hemsworth or whatever. Is it because he's British? You can tell me if it's because he's British.
Who's British?
The Thor guy, isn't he?
Isn't he Australian?
I don't know. I keep track of this.
Some sort of foreign accent, dude.
And you know what?
All accents are British to Ryan.
It's funny. Like I really like Captain America. I like the idea of Iron Man, but his goatee pisses me off. I look at him and I'm like, you're an asshole. Shave that off, good sir. You look at Robert Downey Jr. in any of his interviews where he doesn't have the facial hair, he seems like the nicest guy ever.
But as soon as he gets a goatee, you're just like, douchebag!
I don't know what it is. It's just he rubs me the wrong way. When he's in his suit, it's super awesome. And he's acting the same way. But like when he's like on screen with that whatever they call it. Ruffalo is a really cool dude, yeah. Man, Ruffalo's awesome.
I don't know what's going on with my computer tonight, but it's like wicked slow.
Okay, yes, the Liam or the Hemsworths are Australian. Okay. Who else is in it? Obviously, Scarlett Johansson's good.
I just drank cat hair. It was unfortunate. I don't even know where it came from. I took a glass
Probably
literally
cat,
straight.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I know, but I took a glass straight out of the friggin' dishwasher, filled it up with water, and came in here, and somehow, in that sequence of events, it got covered in cat hair.
Now Manny thinks I'm coming for him. It's not everybody's goatee. It's just Robert Downey Jr.'s goatee. I don't have sorry, I guess I should state that. I don't have a thing against people with goatees. It's just certain people who act a certain way. Manny, you've been nothing but kindness to me. So your goatee is nullified by the fact that you're just a great person. But Robert Downey Jr. Sorry, not Robert Downey. I shouldn't say that.
Iron Man.
Iron Man, thank you. He's kind of a dick. He saves the day, but he's kind of a dick.
Oh, spoilers.
What?
Iron Man saves the day?
Oh, have you not seen 1 through 3 in Avengers 1?
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant like specifically in this movie.
Yeah, well, see, the funny thing is, for Age of Ultron, I have no idea. I have no idea what happens in the movie. Like, I know they're based on trailers and stuff. I know of like certain scenes, but I don't know how, and I can sort of piece how they get there. And don't worry, guys, I'm not going to spoil it or spoil anything, even if it's just my conjecture. But
well, yeah, but you never know. You could be right,
and that's why I wouldn't say anything, right? But like we can obviously determine that Iron Man and Captain America survived this movie. I was thinking about this the other day because they announced all the movies coming out after this one. And the first one coming after this one is Captain America versus Iron Man. So you can obviously determine that Iron Man and Captain America survive. And don't say like, oh, well, it could be just the idea of Iron Man. It's like, no, like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are on the fucking poster for Civil War. Yes, Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman's in the movies? I don't think I knew that.
She's not. No, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know if she's in Age of Ultron, but she's the Thor lady.
Oh yeah, no, I know she's the Thor lady. But
I hear Agent Carter has a flashback in this movie. I think.
Oh, cool.
She's awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to dramatic zoom the camera. I was messing around. I was trying to make it go further out because I feel like the camera's really close to me today. And I went in instead of out by accident. Sorry. All right. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Yeah. Are we all ready?
I think so.
Seen everything you need to see?
I think so. I haven't actually read the articles. I figure you can just summarize for me, right?
Did you watch the first 30 seconds of that Kickstarter video? Give me 30 seconds of that.
Okay.
And if you've played Banjo-Kazooie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then everybody else can hear the music too, actually.
Well, I'm gonna see if I can't. Okay. Let's do something here, dudes. Let's
Oh my god, they're already at 756,000, so they've hit another milestone. Shit.
This is probably gonna like kill my computer.
Best part is, Jocelyn, is you'll be able to play a Nintendo game on your PC.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this is gonna work, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We always saw it as the first game to be a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, just because platformers haven't really been around in recent years, and we knew that's a sort of game that we could nail pretty well.
And it was about recreating a team exactly how it used to be on the N64 and how it used to operate, reproducing that environment, that team setup, that dynamic.
For a long time, we'd been thinking and talking about how we could create something similar to some of the games that we had in the past, and we wanted to see if there was a way we could do that.
We settled on the chameleon and the bat because we just loved the kind of natural abilities that they'll bring to the gameplay, and then we thought about the different combinations
really fun.
and the way they'll work with each other. I mean, it just gives us lots of compound effects.
Val.
I guess there are similarities in our character duo, but there have been other character duos.
It looks like a lot of fun
out there as well. So I think this time we tried to choose
really
moves
colorful
for the characters that really suit them. So we.
All right, we'll talk about it. We can talk about it on the show.
Yeah. I just showed everybody the first minute of that video. Figuring things out, dudes. Figuring things out. All right. So, I think we're ready to go.
Sure. Kazooie was annoying. I don't argue with you.
All right. I'm going to take us. Well, I guess we're already live, so it's not really. I'm not taking us anywhere.
I'll just mute my mic and
cool.
Play the music.
All right, so Gamers In episode 166. What? Records live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
How's it going?
Good. You forget to unmute your mic there for a second?
No, I made a mistake. It's been fixed thanks to the wonderful Gnome Wise, who's jumped into the chat room to let us know. We are live.
Fantastic. That's great. So we can say hello to Alpha Geek too. Hi, Alpha Geek listeners.
Well, only video. So if they're watching us in the video, we're being simulcast on Alpha Geek.
What?
Gotta fix the audio though. So for those listening to this on the feed or something and wondering, I couldn't watch it, listen to it because it wasn't. That was my bad. I left at the last minute. And we started
all the
because
things.
we had a pre-show. It's all good. We were just talking about video games, and we got egg on our face, Jocelyn.
Why?
Well, last week we spent like half an hour railing on the kids who want their free mods, and Valve agreed with them.
Ugh. Yeah, I saw this. I guess what was it? Monday or Tuesday? I'm trying to remember. It was really early on in the week anyway, where they kind of like went back on their paid mods for Skyrim thing. And it makes me really sad because I feel like creators should get paid for their content. So, I mean, I'm going to let you describe what you think is a valid argument for this because I don't agree. So.
Okay, well, my opinion has not changed from last week. We were both on the same page when it came to our opinion on what was happening for the paid mods. Now, what Valve and both Bethesda have come across is they listen to the overwhelming feedback, call it.
Okay. So I guess that's my first issue.
Sure.
And it's always an issue in any kind of anything really, is you have these vocal people and they may or may not be the majority of people. They're just the most vocal, and usually the ones that feel strongly about something negatively are the ones that you hear the most from. I mean, I'm part of the problem because I thought this was a great idea. I was 100% behind it. I didn't go on the forums and defend it in any way, shape, or form. So it's usually a really vocal but small group of people that tend to wreck things for other people. Like, I mean, you see the same thing in Hearthstone all the time. There's like 25 million Hearthstone players, and yet there's these like small groups of like, even if you get 5,000 people saying the same thing on Reddit, it's still 5,000 out of 25 million. So it drives me nuts when companies make decisions and kind of like kill big ideas based solely on feedback, you know? And I mean, I'm not Valve, so maybe they got way more than we kind of realize. Like, maybe there are a lot of people that went straight to Valve as opposed to posting on forums or whatever. But I feel like they made a mistake by not letting it play out, you know?
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, like, we're, as not being in the mod community, or even when we had been to this full outright last week, we're not super steeped in the soup that is the mod community. I assume it's soup. It appeared to be some sort of shit stew last week. Not anybody wanted to be in that
I used to be
but...
way into mods, not for Skyrim, sure. But such a nerd. The Sims back in the day, like there was a huge modding community there, and I didn't build things, but I tested things and I helped, you know, in that kind of a way. And I got everything under the sun. I think my mom used to hate me because every once in a while you'd just get stuff laced with viruses. And I was like 15. I didn't know. I was just like, download all the things. So, I mean, yeah, like I used to be back in the day into at least the modding community, not necessarily building my own stuff. And yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like, I think Valve saw all the feedback, positive, negative, inflammatory, all kinds, like ranging from 0 to 1 on the gambit of negative to positive. And I think when you look at all that feedback, you have to take something away from it, that the community doesn't want this. And right now with Skyrim, it's a game that's
Zoe also feels very strongly about this topic.
See, this is what most of the forum posters sounded like, actually, to me. Anyways, no, I kid. We're being the people that we're going to hate on later on in the episode, which is weird. No, but seriously, I think when it comes right down, the hell is out there? Anyways, it's a 4-year-old game. It's had a strong modding community, and this is one of the points that really didn't defend them pulling it, but did give me like, oh, I guess that is a good point. It's a modding community that's existed for 4 years now, left to how modding communities usually operate. Free to play, and you get the mods you want. Some of them are on Steam. The more weird, not safe for work ones and not safe for life ones are like located in a weird like Pirate Bay-esque place. So you don't want to go there. It's like the back alley. Yeah, the deep web, if you know what I mean. And that's what they want in a modding community. And Valve came around and said like, look guys, we just want to like our creators to be paid for their creativeness, right? And it is derivative work. It's based on it's using the Skyrim engine and assets. It's using our service. Therefore, we get a cut, Bethesda gets a cut, and then you get a cut, similar to how all of the other microtransaction games work. But that 4-year argument is such a solid one that it's like, which is where we get to the point where Valve says, like, we think there's a great feature here. We're just applying it to the wrong games. They need to wait for Elder Scrolls 6 and say, like, look, guys, paid modding is going to be day one on this thing. Like it or not, go play your Skyrim if you don't. But Elder Scrolls 6 is going to have paid mods.
This is the part that I don't agree with, saying that since it's a 4-year-old game and modding community, we shouldn't touch it. I think that's a load of bullshit. There are a ton of people who are still playing Skyrim and still downloading mods. So I don't understand why the fact that it's not like it's a dead community. It's alive and well. So why not use an existing community to pilot something like this? It just seems to me like I can understand, I guess, like my big question, I guess, because I didn't have any mods installed on my PC for Skyrim. If you already had downloaded a mod before the change, did you then have to pay to use it? Or was it just any new downloads got charged? Because I think that would be the way to do it. Be like, okay, from next Monday, if you want to use a mod, then, you know, you have to, or like if you want to download a new mod, then that download is going to cost you X dollars, whatever the price is that the creator sets. I can see an argument and a problem with people saying, well, this is something I've been using for 4 years and all of a sudden you're not letting me use it anymore. That I can see as being an issue because you're taking something away from people. But if you're just saying like a new creator with a new mod, you know, is going to charge money, or old mods and old creators are going to start making money, I think the key is start making money. So do you know how it was working in terms of like stuff I had already installed?
Yeah, so basically I think how that would work is that you have that current version of the mod on your system, but if you wanted to update it, you'd have to pay for it because essentially all those mods have DRM now. I think was another concern people have because for some reason people don't like DRM, even though Steam is a giant piece of DRM. that works really well. When DRM works, it shouldn't bother you, but for some people it's like it's just that trigger word, right? And that's fine. There are services out there where you can get DRM free games, but don't go on the Steam community forums and be like, oh, I've heard people complain like, oh, Steam is just a giant DRM thing. It's like, well, then don't use it. It's like, well, everything's there. Digital rights management, Val's asking what DRM stands for. You know, it's like, but everything's in Steam. You can't complain. Digital rights management is basically stuff that's built into your content. And so it controls like where and when you can play it. So like I buy a movie on my Xbox means I can't copy that file and play it on my PlayStation or whatever. Like assuming you could transfer files between the two. Also like if you buy music or whatever, you know, all of that stuff has little bits of code in it that make it so you can only play it where you bought it or only on approved platforms sort of thing. So it's a way for them to manage piracy. Yeah, and Nightville in the chat room saying people don't like invasive DRM that gets in the way of using the product. It's like, well, yeah, that's a good point. But I don't think this is invasive. No, I don't see how paying for mods and rewarding creators is being invasive in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, I don't know. Well, another point I want to address what the chat room's saying because they're last week and this week they've been really good with this stuff and even voicing opinions that differ on our own. Wando in the chat room saying the thing about mods is that many of them use the other work that came before, so who gets paid for what? And that was a big issue with this system, is that it was the community had to police it, which is a problem, right? Because a lot of these mods, being 4 years old, are using like some mod pieces that were developed for free and are like, hey, this toolkit you can use to make your spider hairy mod a little bit better, right? So you don't have to do as much coding to make your spiders hairy.
I don't want hairy spiders.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would want that, but hey, it's a free market, right? If you want your hairy spiders hairier, you got it.
Yeah.
Mod does that. So that's an issue right there, but I think that again, that's like Valve's like, well, we're not touching that because the community has to police that. It's like, well, that's not really like anything that uses derivative work should like say you're using a mod that says, well, this mod's free. And I actually saw this because it started to pop up over the weekend. There was a major mod that is used in a lot of other really popular mods. It's like a framework. And on the framework's website, it said like, look, we're not going to charge for the framework, and anybody using the framework is allowed to sell their product, but they're not charging you for our framework. They're charging you for their work. So it was, again, you started to see the community react and police itself. And
which, I mean, I guess it's not 100% ideal, but at the same time, I don't really see the problem with a community policing something. I mean, I know, for instance, it's not a modding community, but it's an online community. The Frog Pants community is fantastic. I mean, they police chat rooms. Like when you're, like when Scott is streaming on Frog Pants, he doesn't have to pay attention to his chat room in terms of like banning people or any of that kind of stuff, because the community does it. The community will also like be all over the web, Imager, Reddit, all that kind of stuff. And whenever Scott's work shows up uncredited, the first like 100 comments are, this is Scott Johnson and here is his website and he did this on this day and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, like that's an example of a huge online community that 100% polices itself to the point that the creator of the community doesn't have to. And I think that it can work. I mean, obviously, like the Steam modding community is much, much bigger, but I don't see why it can't work on a bigger scale. And especially with examples like the one you just gave.
Yeah, I don't think Valve killed it because of the community policing argument. I think that argument is solid, but it's not. Valve and Steam has proven to be a really smart community, and they can figure it out and they can roll with the punches, right? I think we would have seen that happen, but I think their major concern was over this uproar, and they're basically like, all right, we will take this back. We will go back to the drawing board, but we already know that Bethesda's cool with this. We already know that Valve is cool with this. And the modding community, for the most part, I think were cool with this. There was a lot of, I don't know for a fact, but like I saw a lot of mods actually embrace the system, start charging for their work and whatnot. Whether people saw that as good or bad, I saw a lot of mods start to charge, which, I don't know, they're taking advantage of the tools that they're given to maybe get some money for hundreds of hours, thousands of hours that they've spent working on these projects. So Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 4, when those get announced, please, internet gamers, do not get upset at Valve when they say, look, we're going to have paid mods, we're going to reintroduce it day one, so that the biggest excuse or problem, I say, is out of the window, right? Like that no longer applies. So,
I do think that that's probably the way that it's going to go, is we're going to see whatever the next game is going to have that kind of support, which is, I think it's good. And you know, you're right. Maybe they chose the wrong community to roll it out to, but I still don't think it's a bad idea. I obviously 100% support creators getting paid for their work.
Oh, I agree with you. I think Valve's just like, there was even an AMA, again, this all happened in the course of a few days, where Gabe Newell was in an airport on his iPad answering questions in the Reddit, and just every time he answered a question, people would just downvote him. So no one could actually see these well thought out responses he was giving, right? And he didn't have to do that. He also didn't have to pull this paid modding support, but they did, right? So. And Batten in the chat room saying this is a new paid DLC problem. It's like, guys, we have to pay for our content.
Yeah.
And you got to pay for people's time.
Yeah. And if you don't think that the content is worth it, because we've talked about it before where there's been, DLC for $20-$25 and it's like 4 maps or something. It's just like, well, then don't pay for it. Don't buy it. Don't use it. Yeah. Because you can always vote with your dollars. And then, if enough of us say like, no, I don't want to pay $25 for 4 maps, they're going to stop putting out DLC that's 4 maps.
There's a reason that Call of Duty gets away with a $50 season pass for an $80 game every year. Mm-hmm. And that is because you guys are buying these map packs. Like Batman, like if we want to talk about the DLC problem, like Warner Brothers announced DLC season pass for the new Batman Arkham Knight game. It's $50, or sorry, no, it's $40, probably 50 in Canada, actually. It's $40, and it's going to give you bullet points. Like they didn't even detail what was in it. They just said, hey, buy our game. This is what you get. And it's like, you're not even telling me.
You're not even telling me what I get for $50 freaking dollars.
And the on-disc argument is another one. Like, yes, some on-disc content is there and it's shitty and it sucks. But sometimes this data needs to exist on the disc and in patches and in day one stuff in order for it to work. Like a big example is companions in video games, right? Like for Dragon Age and Mass Effect, like they have to build it into the code day one, not the finished character, but build it in there so it actually can work down the road when they've had a chance to finish it. I just think that like in a day of data mining and just utmost awareness of what's going on in people's games, even stuff that isn't even there to see in the forefront, it puts a lot of pressure on a company. And that's why it's funny, like BioWare Dragon Age Inquisition, I saw people complaining that they weren't getting companions for DLC, and then everyone's like, well, they're not doing it because when they did it last time and explained why they had it on the disc, you guys exploded. It's like, like nobody can win.
Yeah.
It's almost like you wish the game developers probably wish they could develop in a vacuum. Just be like, here's the game. We're shutting our email accounts down. We'll let you know when DLC comes out. Yeah, exactly. The equivalent of a la 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 la, Anyways, I just like playing video games, and I try not to get upset at companies that are providing this content for me. As long as they're not being stupid, I won't be stupid. Yeah. We have that relationship. It's working out well.
Exactly. So speaking of playing video games, what have you been playing in the last week or so?
Well, I put together a video with Eric Mahler, friend of the show. Ooh. Fantastic person. We played Mario Kart 8, speaking of DLC, the second pack of DLC. And speaking of great DLC, awesome value, $8 a pack or $13 for both packs. And in total for both packs, you're getting 16 tracks, 8 carts, 6 characters, and they all look fantastic. In DLC Pack 2, you're getting an Animal Crossing zone, which allows you to race through like the Animal Crossing world. And every time you boot it up, it actually starts a new season. So in a way, you're getting 4 tracks in one. And it's got the music, it's got like all the characters alongside. You played a little bit of Animal Crossing, did you not?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
When everyone was like, oh my God, best game ever, woo, come play. And I was like, okay, but I was like 4 months late jumping on the bandwagon, and then nobody was playing.
It's just a really good representation of the game in what you would never see it in. You would never think to see it in a Mario Kart game. You kind of expect like, yeah, you're going to have your Shy Guys, you're going to have your Yoshis, but you don't expect to see like Link racing by as you like chuck a red shell and hit him in the back of the head, and he's all like, his rupees just go everywhere. And the other stuff they included was some F-Zero tracks. So like rather than Nintendo giving us F-Zero games, they're giving us DLC, which is really great, I guess, if you don't want a new F-Zero game but still want to play it. Have you ever played F-Zero?
Wait, which one's F-Zero? Is F-Zero the motorcycles?
No, it was a kart-ish game, but it was a more faster, more technical racing game.
I can't remember if I played it or not. It rings a bell. For a second, I got it confused with Wave Race.
It's not Wave Race.
I also played a shit ton of.
Wave Race is great, though. If we could talk about a game that we need on a Wii U, it's Wave Race.
Yep.
Screw F-Zero. We need a new Wave Race. I love Wave Race. Oh, man. Yeah. But no, the DLC is great, and you get to play as actual Animal Crossing characters, and they're cute and cuddly, and they make the sounds that they make in the game. Like, I can't remember. It's like, they make the gibberish, the Nintendo gibberish. So it's really good. And we had a blast. And that video is an entire overview of all the tracks. So even if you aren't going to buy a Wii U, but you're interested in seeing what this game has to offer, like this is like the best content you can play on the Wii U. Yeah. True. Manny in the chat room just made a great comparison. If you've played Wipeout on the PlayStation, F-Zero is Nintendo's Wipeout.
I see.
So it's really cool, but we haven't got one of those in a very long time, unfortunately. But yeah, if you have Mario Kart 8, you should definitely go pick this DLC pack up because
every single time, and I think someone, possibly Josh in the chat room, said that every single time you put out a Mario Kart 8 video, it makes me want to go get a Wii U. Every single time you talk about it, it makes me go, damn, I should totally get a Wii U.
Yeah, I still think everybody who's watching these videos and paying attention to like the content we put up as the Gamers In, or even like the Wii U videos I put up, wait until E3, because I think that's going to give you a strong indication of what to expect with the future development of the system. Like if they just say like Star Fox is coming out this fall and Zelda next year and maybe Paper Mario, it's like, you might want to not buy a Wii U. Not to say any of these games won't, none of these games that are out on the Wii U are going to come out on the NX. Like they're not going to port them. You're going to have to wait for Mario Kart 9 or 10 or whatever it ends up being. But
I really want some sort of like Zelda themed skinned Wii U. I'm really hoping that when it comes out eventually, there will be some sort of fancy schmancy bundle. And it'll be all gold and Triforce covered and amazing.
That would be nice. Not very often companies make like styled consoles, although...
Well, they did for the Wii.
Yeah, they did. You're right. Yeah. They did do it for the Wii. And
Sony's done a couple of them too. They did like a Call of Duty one, and they did... They
have a Batman one coming out.
Yeah, and was it Xbox that did the Star Wars ones? I think so.
Yeah, they did an R2-D2 one.
Yeah.
Every time you like open the disc tray, it would go beep boop boop beep boop.
See?
Or whatever R2 does. I think they did the best Nintendo did was they had customized like the gamepad when Wind Waker came out, and it was like that little like it was just a frame with a Triforce on the top where the camera was, I think. Yeah. But I think the Wii U has a solid like library, but I was doing the math the other day and it's like we're due up for a new Nintendo system, and that's crazy because it feels like the Wii U has only been out for a year. And that's probably due to the fact that it just feels like we haven't got a lot of games for it, and the really good ones have been lately, right? With Smash and Mario Kart. And it's kind of disturbing to think about that. That we're looking at a new Nintendo console coming out in the next 2 years. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. It's getting harder and harder by the day to suggest someone go pick up a Wii U. Definitely, you should probably go pick up a PS4.
I already have a PS4.
Well,
you mean like you, as in like you, the audience.
The audience. No, I think you should pick up a Wii U because I think you'd really enjoy Mario Kart, and the online works as illustrated by me kicking Eric's butt every track. Well, that's not fair. I think he did beat me a couple times actually, but he got a blue shell.
That's cheating. Everyone knows that's cheating.
Everyone knows that's cheating, Jocelyn. What have you been playing?
I haven't been playing too much outside of Hearthstone because Blackrock Mountain has been releasing for the last 5 weeks. We just got the 5th wing. And man, it's so much fun. And at first when the phone version of Hearthstone came out, I wasn't playing it very much. Now I can't put the freaking thing down. I've started trying to beat heroic bosses, like all the way back to Naxxramas, because I never went through and cleared that stuff. So like I'm just sitting there and I'm like building random custom decks. I don't even know if they're gonna work, and then trying all these heroic bosses, and I'm like, I'm playing Hearthstone all the time. Like, releasing it for the phone was the best idea they ever had, because I played Hearthstone a lot to begin with, but now it's like I'm playing like first thing in the morning, and then I'm playing on my lunch hour, and then I'm playing like when I get home from work, and then I'm playing in bed, and like I'm playing this freaking game all the time. It's getting crazy. Yeah, Night Vale in the chat room says I'm playing right now. I am. You guys don't even know.
She's playing. She's got a dummy account so no one can like accuse her of playing. So she's like
exactly.
trained.
It's my incognito Smurf account for Hearthstone.
There's a term for it. Smurf account.
You've never heard the term Smurf accounts?
No.
Oh man.
I've heard like Twinkle accounts or whatever.
Well, it's Twinks?
Yes, it's not Twinkle. I don't know. I barely have one account in World of Warcraft. I don't know whether it's a Twink or a Twinkle.
So Twink accounts and Smurf accounts are well, they're basically the same thing. You have Twink characters in WoW that basically you get to a certain level, you turn off XP, and you just grind to get the best whatever at that level. And usually it's for PvP. So it can be really frustrating when you're trying to level up a character using strictly PvP, because I tried to do that, and you walk in with your like normal level of gear, and you have all these people that have been playing at level 19 for like 5 years. It's just like, well, I don't have the gear you do or the skill you do, because you've been with the same set of skills or same set of spells for like years and years and years. But anyways, that's what Twink characters in WoW are. But if you have games like League of Legends or Smite or anything that requires like a level and a matchmaking system and all that kind of stuff, if you start a brand new account, you, with all of your skills, get matched up against, in theory, new players, and you can basically farm new players and try out new builds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, my Smurf account's already legend. It's not. I don't have a Smurf account in Hearthstone.
Oh, okay. It was a joke.
But yeah, so they're slightly different, but same overarching concept is that you're pretending to be, or with a Smurf account, you're pretending to be not as good as you are, and with a Twink account, you're just kind of staying at one level, and everyone kind of knows if you're a Twink, because if you get into a battleground and everyone has 5,000 health except for one dude who's got 10,000 health because he's just geared to the, can I say? You know, I'm not gonna say it. Anyways, he's way over geared.
He's geared to the what?
Nothing.
A, B, C. Was it T?
Yeah.
Okay. You can say that. We're a mature podcast. I'm not going to say it.
Anyways, so if they're so geared that they're obviously...
Let's say he was geared to the Smiths. We'll just say that.
You're totally derailing my perfectly valid explanation.
Geared to the gonads, Night Vale. That's fine. Although, man, like, didn't they just have to aim above the belt and they'd be fine? Like, if you're only geared to the gonads, right? Or do you start top to bottom or bottom to top? How does that work? I've never PvP'd before.
Okay, so anyway.
Oh, okay. Fine. Don't answer my valid question.
Oh, man.
Sorry. Go.
Speaking of PvP, if anyone is in AIE, I'm helping with a PvP event tomorrow. So basically what we're doing, and I'm going to, or Ryan is going to be super awesome and link it in the chat room. What we're doing is there are 4 volunteers, because right now it's Children's Week. And during Children's Week, there are achievements that you have to get where you take your orphan into the battleground and then perform a certain task in the battleground. So a lot of people don't actually PvP, don't have the gear, and it can be a negative environment when people see you running around with your orphan because they know you don't normally PvP. So there can be some negative comments, etc. So what we volunteered to do, there's 4 of us, like I said, 1 for each battleground that has an achievement tied to it. And we're going to be running groups through the battlegrounds tomorrow. So if you don't have your Children's Week PvP achievements, they do count towards your Violet Proto-Drake, which is the What a Long Strange Trip It's Been achievement. And that's where you have to get all of the designated achievements from each world event throughout the year. So I get to do Arathi Basin, and so basically I'll be taking people into Arathi Basin and then helping them to capture flags or capture locations. I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, it's a thing where there's like the neutral flag and then you have to stand by it to change it to Horde or Alliance. Obviously, we're Horde. And then if you do that with your orphan out, then you get an achievement. So, or you get progress towards your achievement. Sorry. The achievement is actually called School of Hard Knocks. So if that's an achievement that you need, then we'll be on. There is no actual time for the event. It's completely volunteer. And so just kind of like jump in, and all 4 of our in-game character names are on the forum post. So just whisper us if we're in game, and we will be more than happy to take you through the battleground. So I have my hunter who's pretty much completely conquest geared for this season, so I will be protecting your lives with mine. Pew, pew, pew.
Yes. Oh, man, I remember doing these achievements. I know beforehand when I was joking around I said I never PvP'd, but I have taken a child through a battleground before, and mainly came back unscathed. So this is a lot of fun.
It can be quite difficult to get these achievements. There's I'm trying to think. Back when I did it I think 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like the Alterac Valley one is a really big pain in the ass. The Arathi Basin one isn't too bad.
I'd say Warsong Gulch is probably tough, right? Returning a flag, in where you need
yeah,
to
returning
win by
the
capturing 3 flags. Like,
yeah, that's the one that Sparrow is doing. Sparrow is like my backup raid leader for Curiosity Killed the Raid, so he is freaking awesome, and he's going to be doing the flag returning in Warsong. And then Nevermore, who I'm sure you guys have heard me mention before, she's doing Eye of the Storm, which is where you have to capture the flag. And then Elkarth, who I've never actually talked to, she, I think, is doing Alterac Valley, which good on her, because honestly, like, man, I don't like Alterac Valley when there is no goal other than try to win Alterac Valley. So trying to assault a tower with an orphan, oh man, I find that battleground so confusing.
Yeah, it's huge and everyone gets lost.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really, really fun. There's a whole like Q&A type thing, and so just hit us up in game. Again, you have to be in AIE, so make sure if you haven't signed up. Oh, and you also need to be level 100. Sorry, I forgot, because of the way that the Q battleground type system works. You have to be max level in order to come in with us. So,
which you should be by now, right? It's like what, 6 months since the expansion?
Is it? Has it been 6? Oh my god.
Well, like 5 at the very least.
Yeah,
right?
no, it's true. No, it came out
October,
November, because it came out right after BlizzCon. It's like BlizzCon ended, and then that Thursday, so it would have been like November 13th. Does that sound right?
Yes. I remember it being like mid-November, because you're right, it was a week after BlizzCon, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to throw the forum post into the chat room one more time. And if you guys are looking for it, the AIE forums are actually hosted by the Frog Pants forums. So that is forum.myextralife.com. And then if you go into the AIE forum and then the AIE Azeroth forum, then it's one of the top posts. So, because Nevermore just threw it up there today. So go and check it out and hit me up in game if you want to do some PvP. I am super excited. I mean, I had a lot of help when I was going through doing my long strange trips, so it's great that I have a chance that I can give back.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. It's always great, the AIE events that they set up, because it's always about the community and less about, well, okay, some of the events are about tearing the server a new one, but most of the time it is just good old fashioned fun.
Yeah. I also played a little bit of Dungeon Defenders 2, literally just before we started the show, because they had a new patch. They put in pets and, what was the other thing? Pets and costumes?
Pets, costumes, a ruin system, although they're calling them epic spheres.
I'm wondering
I
wonder if that's the other kind of currency that I was talking about, because there was a vendor there for what I thought it said tokens, but I might be wrong.
Well, they're like glyphs. They're not, I think, tokens.
Oh, okay. So then there's something wow, this was such a big patch.
Well, it broke my game. It was pretty big, right?
Yeah, that was
we don't need to get into that, but like, we both tried to play it before the show. It's like, let's check this out. So we have a game to play, to like talk about it together. It's like, okay, great. So instead, Jocelyn got in, played a match, didn't experience any of the new stuff. I got in and experienced a lot of the new stuff, which is basically a game refusing to start. But anyways, I'm working with support. We'll sort it out. But we do have the patch notes here, and we got to get back into this game at some point because some of these additions sound really cool, but also sound like we actually need to play to experience them, like, and not just jump in for a match, but get in there real deep, like and find us some pets.
Yeah, I was really, 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 really upset that I couldn't have a pet right away because, I mean, having a pet is the whole reason why I picked Hunter and WoW. I have so many, I think I'm up to like 500 battle pets. Like, collecting pets and having companions is something I really enjoy doing in all games. So when I saw that they added pets to Dungeon Defenders, I was like, that's so cool. I'm so excited. And then I went in and I wanted to, buy it somehow. I had a whole ton of gems because they gave everybody who was in the alpha basically enough gems to cover the cost of the game, which was crazy. So I had gems, I had gold. I think I have like 100,000 gold or something. So I was just like, oh man, I'm going to buy my first pet. I'm going to see how this works. And you can't buy them. They're drops. So you just have to wait for them to drop in game, and nothing dropped in my first match. So it's kind of like, oh man. That's the only thing that kind of, not necessarily ticks me off, but I wish that you could at least get some sort of starter pet to see how the thing works, and then make it so that, the better ones, the cooler ones, the interesting models or different color variations or whatever are the ones that drop, but just, give you that one at the start to see how the system works. We also, like I said, they put costumes into the game. And the costumes are actually really cool because that was one thing right at the very beginning. Even when you put new gear on, it didn't really change the look of your character except your weapon. Your weapon changed, but everything else looked the same. So if you had 2 or 3 people playing the archer, then you all looked the same. And it was, that level of customization is just always a little bit nice. So the costume thing is pretty cool. I bought a Little Red Riding Hood costume, so I look adorable. and yeah, it was interesting. And I had forgotten how much fun that game is. It's one of those multiplayer games like Battle Block Theater that we played last week that just, like, the sense of humor is cute. It's fun. It's colorful, and you feel badass. I mean, you've got this wave of 20 monsters coming at you, and then you just like clear them all, and you're like, ha! Winning.
Yeah. They've added there's a lot of stuff here. Like even other stuff that they've added include lock boxes, which again are things you earn by playing the game. Legendary weapons. They added a new adventure, which includes 3 new maps. So when I think I didn't get in to actually play this, but I think how it works is when you go to pick a scenario, there'll be another scenario you can pick, which is this new adventure they've added, which is like the Betsy Wyvern adventure thing. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to trying this. I'm going to keep trying and maybe sort out a way to actually boot the game up, and we need to check this out probably maybe even before next week's show because I want to play this game. Looks good. It looks good. But no, yeah, you're right. Like being early access, we've gotten a lot of extra coinage, including even extra coinage for owning the first game. I think they give you a whole other $6 of currency, which is very nice.
Yeah, so they ended up giving us $36 altogether, worth of gems to spend in game. So yeah, I think that's a really great way to give back to the community that's helping you do your testing. It's so it is still in alpha or pre-alpha. I can't remember. I think on the screen when I was playing it said pre-alpha, but I could have sworn that they were in alpha. But anyways, yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff. New titles, different costume pieces, so you can equip like a full outfit, or you can equip just like little bits and pieces to make your character look different. So yeah, they've done a really cool thing. Have you played anything else this week?
Before we move on? Jumping. Yeah, like just quickly, I got a couple things here I wanted to touch on. I've been kind of playing older games lately, like, and not just like old games, but just like games that I've had for years and just stopped playing. I've been playing a lot of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I picked up Donkey Kong 64 on the Wii, a lot of Wii U actually. A new like free game that they added called Amiibo Tap, where it's like a lottery system where you scan an amiibo and then it assigns a random NES or Super NES game to it, and you can play like different scenes. So basically, you can play like the whole game, but it's segmented into chunks. So like, for example, the Mario game I unlocked, it's like, oh, you can play the World 1. Don't like World 1, skip right to World 3 by just scanning it 2 more times, and you skip to World 3. And it's free.
Okay, so it does give you like the content in order, because I was thinking so that you could possibly scan and randomly get World 7 and then scan again and get World 3 of another game, or you know what I mean? But it gives you
No, it's
sequential gaming, I guess.
Exactly. It progresses in a normal fashion, but I mean, if you own the game, you could play it from start to end, but with this Amiibo tap, what I'm getting is they're like highlights that highlight the whole game. And there's, I think, in total 16 games that you can get. So that means if you have 16 Amiibos, then yay, you've unlocked everything that Amiibo tap has to offer. I haven't actually gone through. I've just sort of been playing with it, but I'm also tempted to pick up Paper Mario, like the original N64 one, which I never beat as a kid, but I remember really enjoying.
I totally beat that game. I got obsessed with it. It was really weird because it was like my year when I was at college, which was after my 5 years of university. So I was probably like 26 or 27. And for whatever reason, I'd never played it before, but it just like totally grabbed me. And I got obsessed with beating that game. And I would like come home from school and I would just be sitting there and be like, I have a paper to write, or I could Paper Mario for 7 hours.
I don't know what's wrong. Wrong is a strong word. I don't know what's going on. Like, I have these newer games, like I have Mortal Kombat X, I have even the games we played last week, like Killing Floor 2, Blood Block Theater, whatever it's called. It's not Blood Block Theater.
No, Battle Block.
That's a different game that you do not want to play. Bloodborne, speaking, I converged those 2 games, and I don't know what it is. I just feel like going back and playing these older titles, maybe it's just at the point where we are, where I want to play something that I know I'm gonna love, even though some would argue Donkey Kong 64 is a terrible game, but it's got strong nostalgic.
Wait,
attached
who
to it
says
for me.
Donkey Kong 64 is a terrible game?
A lot of people actually
I
on the
love
internet.
that game.
Now this is the one for 64 where you like switch between the 5 Kong characters.
Oh, which one's the one? What's the original? Oh no,
So
I'm
you're
thinking
thinking-
Super
you're thinking
Nintendo. I'm thinking the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah, Donkey Kong 64. Like, if it was a game.
Yeah, no,
came
that
out
is
today-
pretty terrible. I got confused.
Well, see, that's the thing, is like playing it for me is like, oh man, like I remember playing this with my brothers, and we would sit down and we had the guide. So you needed a guide to play that game because there was like
No internet?
a billion things to collect. Also, there was no internet. I think we were like a year away from getting AOL, and that's because I tricked my mom, like, we should get the internet. It's on this disc. Like, sweet.
The whole internet on this one disc.
Yeah, it makes a bunch of sounds, and then the disc turns into a modem, and it works. So like, I don't know what's going on. This hasn't stopped me from looking at new games and being like, ooh, I kind of want to play this. Like the new Assassin's Creed side-scrolling game. It's like the art looks really cool, and it's based in China, and you're playing as a female assassin, and it just looks so neat. But I keep being drawn back to these older titles, and even worse, I mentioned this last night, I keep being drawn back to the fact that I kind of want to play Destiny. And I will use this word this time. I don't know what's wrong with me, Jocelyn.
You're just a glutton for punishment.
Bloodborne
into Destiny.
Well, see, like Destiny, I keep seeing these new screenshots and video and coverage of the new expansion, and I'm like, I didn't hate that game. It just came out like 3 weeks before I got married. I was busy. So maybe I need to play it. Maybe it wasn't terrible. Maybe I was just busy.
Maybe.
Maybe, but I didn't beat the story, and I really don't feel like dropping another $40 to see what the expansions might be like. Maybe I'll wait for E3 to see what they announce there before I get invested, but
I don't know. I heard that Destiny didn't really have that much of a story, so if you can just jump right into the expansion, then I don't think you're going to be missing much. Again, like I haven't played through it, I don't know, but from what I kind of read and gathered from people who did play a lot of it, is that was the big failing, really, is that, that it was really hard to know what to do or what was going on, like what the overarching theme of the game was. So I don't think you're missing much if you just jump into the expansion. If you can, you might have to, I'm sure you probably have to be max level, whatever max level was before the expansion, in order to access that content. But if you don't have to, jump right into the expansion. Although, yeah, then $40 to maybe like it.
It's they're not even expansions. Like, expansions to me are like World of Warcraft expansions. Expansions in Destiny is overpriced DLC. Like, if we want to talk, we gotta go back and talk about DLC again.
Yeah, really.
This is a bad example of what DLC can be. Like, they announced the first expansion was like a bunch of maps which they are offering for free with a patch or either purchase of the new expansion. I don't know. And then there was like 3 story missions, which is what I would want, and then a raid that requires like up teen hours of play. It's basically like an MMO the way they treat their gear. So I don't even think I'd even be able to get geared up enough to experience a good portion of the content of the expansion, right? And I don't like PvP in Destiny. But the reason I'm being drawn back is that in the new expansion, they're offering a horde mode. So
Right. I do remember you mentioning that. Because that's always the hook that gets you into expansions.
co-op.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, I need
Horde
people
mode
that are
anytime.
better than me to drag my ass through the dirt, right? That's kind of how co-op. That's why co-op exists for people like me who can't
to
pull
just
their.
slack.
Well, not slack. I'm just terrible. Like, there's a difference. I'm not. It's not that I'm not trying. It's just that I'm not very good. There's a big difference. But I don't know. I keep seeing the Polygon articles. Like, chat room keeps mentioning Zur, whoever that is. Like, Hail Zur. Is that a
I have no idea.
Scientology thing?
I don't know.
They're all talking about Zur. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, maybe this week I'll finally just give in. Someone, I think Blood Noob is in the chat room. It's like, what's this? 3 weeks of Ryan saying I kind of want to play Destiny. Maybe
Something like that.
Maybe I really don't want to play Destiny. Maybe I should.
I don't think
just
you
give
do.
in.
I think you should play something else. I think you should go through your Steam library. I think the new episode of Game of Thrones just came out. Or I'm assuming it did because there's an update. So that's usually what that means.
Maybe the update will fix my damn controller. I tried to play it, and it wouldn't recognize my controller. This is why you don't buy games outside of Steam, people.
Yeah.
I bought it directly from Telltale, and the game doesn't work. I buy it from Steam. No one has a complaint. Whatever. I'll play Destiny this weekend. I'll try it, and then I'll report back. If I report back next week and it's like, yeah, I tried Destiny, fuck you guys for encouraging that behavior. Is what I imagine will happen.
On that note, I wanted to mention that Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to upgrade to an SSD when you purchase a new gaming rig. Head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. So that brings us to our topic of the week this week. And I don't know how to tell you this.
Okay.
But I think I'm just going to come out with it because my secret's obviously out. And
Uh-oh.
this is really hard because I've hid it for so long. But apparently, I'm a fat dude who lives in my mother's basement.
I thought I smelled something. You know what? I joke because I try to hide the pain with my humor, my terrible, terrible humor. I get it from my father. And I'm a fat dude stuck in my parents' basement.
We are all fat dudes stuck in our parents' basements. According to one Colin some dipshit over at ESPN, who I am sure everyone currently listening to the sound of my voice, if you are a gamer and have been on the internet this last week, you are aware of his comments over Heroes of the Dorm being broadcast on actual TV. How dare we invade sports TV with a sport?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. And the funny thing is, like, it's not even his channel. Like if we want to get technical, he is a broadcaster, one of many on ESPN. He doesn't own the channel. He has no say of what content is played on that show. He doesn't even have a say of what he can cover on that show. He's got producers and bosses that tell him what to say, as evidenced by the fact that he was reading off a sheet the whole time. And folks, this video, if you want to get pissed off on a Friday night.
Yeah, so I'm going to play the first couple of seconds of this. I have it queued all up. So, because in case you guys think that I'm somehow blowing this out of proportion or misquoting or whatever, here is Colin Cowherd on his show, The Herd, on ESPN this last week.
Here's what's going to get me off the air. If I am ever forced to cover guys playing video games, I will retire and move to a rural fishing village and sell bait. You want me out? Demand video game tournaments on ESPN, because that's what appeared on ESPN2 yesterday. Nerds! Thanks to a partnership with Blizzard, there was a League of Legends battle for 2.5 hours yesterday on ESPN2. So while many of you watched Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller call the Rock's Mavs game on TNT, Artosis and Day 9 called the Heroes of the Storm game on ESPN2 yesterday.
I really enjoyed seeing how Berkeley was able to control that map to get the coins, really punishing them with the pirate ship.
If ESPN ever forced me to cover that or do play-by-play, I would quit.
Now UC Berkeley is cursed, which means their buildings are not firing. Their minions are very, very weak. Get that giant boss down at the bottom left. They're even clearing out this bruiser camp.
That was called Heroes of the Dorm.
Really all that matters is who gets the third tribute. Do you get 3 total so that you can curse your opponent and, of course, make it so his buildings don't even shoot at you?
Somebody lock the basement door at Mom's house and don't let him out.
One team.
So I was just letting that go there until we got to the basement mom comment. So that video goes on for another about 2 minutes. All of the same kind of content. He took him 2 tries to get Blizzard right. He called it the wrong game.
Several times.
So,
He
yeah.
called it by the promotion a couple times. He kept calling it Hero of the Dorm. And I'm like, dude, no.
Yeah, and Manny in the chat room is saying that he basically, and Ryan was telling me this before the show, like his show in general is, there for shock value. But at the same time, I mean, if you have a show on ESPN, you should maybe not be bashing your network. And if you are, then you should probably be fired. I really hope that they do make him cover Heroes of the Storm or whatever else they choose to broadcast as an esport over on ESPN2, because I would just love this guy to lose his job, because I can't believe that in this day and age, something like that is allowed to be broadcast. Like,
You're insulting your
network.
Well, yes. Like if I went into work and at my work, I have control over social media accounts. And if I went on my social media accounts and just started like talking about my organization, my personal views in a way that put them in a negative light, like pretty sure I'd be fired, even if I was doing it for shock value, And that's the other thing, like ESPN runs Night Vale in the chat room. They run poker, they run national spelling bees and
Chess.
Like chess.
This
and I
is
would
just
consider
animated
those
chess with a
sports.
skin over top of it that is, like super awesome wizard things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
It's really terrible that someone feels like they need to comment on their employers of what they're doing, and people have been fired for less. And I'd be, if I were Blizzard, I'd be pissed.
I would be extremely pissed off. I mean, you're insulting not only the players and their coaches, as well as casters and fans. You're insulting ESPN. You're insulting Blizzard. Like, I mean, and Jim in the chat room is saying we're showing our lack of familiarity with sports talk radio and TV. I have, I'm a sports fan. I know my Leafs flag is not behind me right now, but I am a sports fan, and I have heard sports talk radio before. I have watched a whole bunch of broadcasts on TV, all the commentary and all the rest of it. And usually people, when they cross a line, and I don't think that I have ever heard somebody cross a line on sports talk radio this far. In terms of just like insulting a gigantic group of people. Like there were 28 million people who watched Heroes of the Dorm. That's more than the World Series. Like 28 million people. That's a huge, huge audience for ESPN.
On ESPN too?
Yeah.
Wow. Like this, they get those numbers for like major events, but that's it, right? So
that's the thing. Major sporting events don't pull that kind of, or major, I'll say traditional sporting events don't pull that kind of numbers.
which is the majority of the content that ESPN would be showing. Like the like a major event only comes across every 3 or 4 months. You got your World Series, you got your playoffs, you know, but it's and you know, people in the chat room are saying like this is just what this guy does, and that's an argument that even Polygon makes in the opinion article that we're pulling from, that like, yeah, he's a shock jock, this is what he does. But that brings up another point that we talked about pre-show, is like, do people like this kind of content?
Yeah, like who actually is his audience? Who is he appealing to? And I think
we're not stupid. We know there are people out there that like to listen to hateful bullshit, but like this is what this is, and no one can defend it. Like they can oh, that's funny, they're poking, and they actually do use a clip from a movie that was put out in the 80s before I was born, Revenge of the Nerds. You know, where the guy goes nerds. Yeah. They use that soundbite. Like that's got to show you how antiquated this argument is.
Yes, yeah.
That they're using a quote from an 80s movie, and it's just
Gorath in the chat room says, isn't he entitled to his dumb opinion if we don't agree, even if we don't agree? And yes, he is entitled to have his opinion. We are entitled to not listen and to demand that he either issue a retraction or get fired. Because, I mean, come on. Like, it is completely antiquated. Like, and I'm not going to go down the road, which I've seen a lot of podcasts and people on Twitter go down the road of insulting him personally. I think that his comments were inappropriate, uncalled for. It shows a great kind of misunderstanding of popular culture today. So, I mean, I feel like if that's the kind of content that they're running, maybe ESPN needs to take a look at that content and say, wow, this is really dating us and we need to get with the program. So, you know, now next time we're going to have Smite on ESPN, not ESPN2, and we're going to get rid of all of our antiquated sports talk crap.
Yeah, it's funny, like you said, there's great sports content out there. There's great sport talk radio out there.
Oh, yes. Like, yeah. We are not painting. See, we are not painting an entire group with the same brush. We are talking about this Colin guy who shot his mouth off with a whole bunch of just ridiculousness.
Yeah. No, and there's, you know, Frankie G in the chat is saying, you know, he wants attention, you're feeding, and that's what shock jocks are. Like, that's how they stay employed. They get attention, right? Whether it's from the people who enjoy the content legitimately, maybe they were born missing a DNA chromosome or something that allows them to get enjoyment out of this stuff. I really don't see it. I don't know. But anyways, like, and there are people that are paying attention and getting upset, and being like we're upset. And maybe that's how he stays employed, but I don't know. I think in a way, like,
I really think that, you know, although again, even if you completely discount the whole insulting, because Jim in the chat room is saying Jim Rome insults his listeners all the time, you know, and that's one thing. But when you're insulting your employer and you are insulting a partnership, which I'm sure made them a lot of money, I feel like that's where you just have to draw the line, you know, like. Yeah, this whole incident just makes me shake my head and go like, really, are we still there? Like, and maybe it's because I come from a place where, you know, I'm a jock. I played varsity sports all through high school. I played Ontario level volleyball. Like, I played varsity in university. And so, like, I lived the jock life combined with the nerd life. So I don't understand why we can't all just get along. Like, are we still in a place where we have to draw the line and say, you guys are nerds and you guys are jocks and we're not allowed to talk because reasons. You like to kick a ball and I like to push a button. And so therefore we're two totally different people. Like, in this day and age where we're all so into technology and it's just everywhere. And, you know, like, I don't want to necessarily use the phrase that everyone seems to throw around now that, you know, oh, nerds own the world and, you know, all the rest of it. Geek is cool again, or I don't even know if you could say again, because I don't know, like, but anyways, you know, it's kind of all come around. But at the same time, like, I can't believe that we're still in that place, or that there are some people who have a voice on any kind of platform who are in that place and who are spewing that message. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, every time we've been doing this show for 3.5 years. 166 episodes, and this type of discussion comes up a lot. And I think I say it every time that, like, I can't wait until my kids, our kids, whatever, are our age, and hopefully they're living in a time and place where shit like this does not happen anymore. You know, where they can go out, play video games, and it's a totally accepted norm. They can watch video games on ESPN, CBC, CTV, Global, whatever, and no one bats an eyelash. It's just normal. You know, like the same thing happened with movies back in probably when this guy was super young, or rock music, or it's a reoccurring theme. Like there'll be something 50 years from now where it'll be experiencing people like this. Maybe it'll be us who are doing it. I don't know. I hope I don't become so curmudgeony like this guy. He's kind of like the old man from Up, you know, but when he was like upset at everything before his house floated away. Maybe we need to attach some balloons to his house. I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a valid thing we should do?
Yeah, just float him away.
Yeah, just make him someone else's problem.
And I think just my last kind of point here, like making fun of people and calling them nerds is a little bit ridiculous because, and I think it might have actually been Dills on Angry Chicken when we were discussing this there, who basically said, you know, like everyone's a nerd. Being a nerd just means that you're super into something. Those guys who, you know, watch baseball and do stats and have fantasy leagues and all that kind of stuff, they're nerds about sports. They're jock nerds. So what's the big deal? Can't you just say like, oh, I don't understand the appeal. Video games aren't my thing, but you can see like these guys put a lot of time in. They're really competitive. And, you know, especially a game like StarCraft, like Dota, like Heroes, all of this stuff, you have the element of your actual like physicality. Like you have to be quick. You can't just, it's not like Hearthstone where you have 2 minutes to figure out your turn and, you know, it's really mentally challenging. These games are physically and mentally challenging. Like I know I am never going to be good at StarCraft because I just can't move my fingers fast enough. Like these people with these like 300 APM make me just think of the calluses. Like
well, some guy he just retired because he had repetitive stress injury, right? From moving his fingers too much, right?
This is what I mean. Like there is an element of physicality to what they do and hand-eye coordination and reaction time. And these are all hallmarks of sports. So I don't know. I feel like everyone is a nerd about something and we need to stop calling people nerds as a derogatory term. Like recognize it in yourself and just let people like what they like.
Oh, well, he's a real big sports jock, right? Because he throws like not only just video gamers under the bus, but like he mentions like Harry Potter, he mentions like wizards and Lord of the Rings. Like he goes all out like thermonuclear on geek culture in general. And this article actually highlights some of his past behavior and how he said like, oh, if I ever have to cover video games, I'd quit. And they have linked articles as to when he's covered like Madden NFL cover sheets from NFL 11, 12, 13, you know, co-host of Sports Nation. I guess he was in a video game, you know, it's just, and again, I think that plays to the whole shock jock value and that people are saying like, this is normal and he's just playing for ratings. Like some of the comments in the chat room, people who actively pay attention to his stuff are saying like, or not chat room, but the comments are saying like, look, he's like a lot of other commenters. Sometimes he goes back on his bullshit and says like, yeah, I'm just an entertainer. I just, you know, I do what's funny, you know, but I don't think throwing subcultures under the bus is funny.
No.
I don't think that no matter what it is, whether it's video games, sports, insert interest here, I don't care what it is. It's not funny when you throw it under the bus for a joke. Like it's just, I don't see it.
And hopefully we get to a place where everybody starts to think that way. And Don in the chat room saying 300 APM is totally inefficient in StarCraft.
Is it? I don't know. That's what we got it maybe.
You know what I mean.
But it'd be really interesting if people listening to the show do listen to stuff like this and find enjoyment out of it. And we wouldn't judge. I just like to know why. Like it'd be interesting because I don't think I've really ever had that conversation or heard someone's opinion on it, right? Like because people do obviously listen to this stuff and
they must obviously. be interesting to know if we have anybody who listens to us who also listens to things like that. Be interested in your opinions.
Yes.
So if you want to show off your TGI pride, you can do so by heading over to slashloot.com. That is SLASHloot.com. And you can grab yourself a Gamers In t-shirt. They have tons of other awesome shirts, including all your favorite podcasts, like Azeroth Roundtable, Torn Think Tank, Zombies Ate My Podcast, and The Angry Chicken. So go to slashloot.com and show off your podcast pride. That brings us to our listener feedback section. We wanted to thank Brandy H., who is our patron of the week this week. The May Hangout has been secured by her generous donation, so thank you so much. The April Hangout is going to go on the feed for everyone very soon. It is currently available to patrons only, but we should be unlocking that on Sunday, I believe. Is that right?
Sure, yeah.
Yes, so patrons get to not only call in and participate in our Hangouts, but also get the content a week before everyone else. So we have an email this week from Val, which we alluded to last week. She sent us in an email about Life is Strange. So Ryan, do you want to kick this email off? Because it was a long one, but very well written. Yeah.
Yeah, Val is one of our early listeners, around since episode 1, I believe. So she's a
she's
lifer.
Been here. Yep.
Our little French Canadian, we love her. Val says, Life is Strange. She's playing alongside us, and she says, first, lip syncing did not bother me so much this time. Maybe it is because I used to watch a lot of anime back in the day. Also, I chalked it up. That's actually a good point.
It's a really good point. Yeah, you get over lip sync really quickly if you love anime.
Yeah. Also, I chalked it up to this being a major issue in the first episode and knew for a fact that the devs would not fix it in the second episode. That's actually a good point. I guess we can't fault it every episode knowing they're not going to fix it for the next episode. But if they come out with a season 2 and it's still broken, then we can fault it.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't really notice it as much in the first episode. I feel like I noticed it so much more in the second. And I don't know if it's because I was looking for it because you had actually pointed it out, or if it was actually worse. So
it was worse.
I thought it was. But anyways, I mean, you're completely right, Val. You know, we can't fault them for something like that we know is not actually going to improve. You just have to move past it or stop playing the game, really.
Yeah. I think what Val is saying is we need to watch anime before we play episode 3.
True.
Challenge accepted. Second, Chloe is a friggin' brat.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. For someone who is pegged as being... Oh, I should say also, as we go further on, spoilers, maybe, for Life is Strange episode 2, just as a general, if you really hate spoilers. Yeah. She's a friggin' brat, spoilers. For someone who's pegged as being 19 in the game, she acts like she is 10 years younger. Okay, her best left her and blah, 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 but guess what? People are going to leave your life at some point. That is what is called growing up. I picked up the phone when Kate called, and I remember saying on my TV, shut up, you friggin' brat.
I love that she's actually talking to her TV while she's playing. That shows you're really getting into the story.
It's a strong moment where, again, like, you realize your friend's being a brat, and you're like, really? The game is going to make me choose? Of course I'm going to pick the phone. Like, come on, she can wait, and she was fine.
Yeah.
She didn't melt. Third, I looked up where to find the bonfire in the junkyard. I spent a good 15 minutes looking around the yard like an idiot until I decided, nope, not going to do it, and turned my attention to a wonderful YouTube video that showed me where the damn thing was. I also got Chloe shot in the yard, but that really surprised me when it happened. I was not expecting it at all. Yeah, that I found that bonfire, but I remember when Chloe got shot. That was great.
I really wish I'd gotten Chloe shot. That sounds terrible, but it didn't happen for me. I saw it coming, so I avoided it, but I'm probably, I don't know, I feel like I missed a key part of the story.
Yeah, just the reaction as it happens, because Chloe at that point knows that you can turn back time, so it's like, just her reaction is like, oh my god, do something, turn back time, and she knows she's going to be fine, but only if her friend like decides to save her ass.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Fourth, I saved Kate. Snooping around saves lives, although I had to rewind once in order to do it. You have to find at least the letter from her father and the highlighted Bible passage. I won't finish that. I should have probably took that out.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, we have already had our Life is Strange spoiler episode, obviously, because Val emailed in about it. And I mean, if anyone's in the chat room, you should probably stop listening now, because we do actually, like, there's something I really wanted to mention about this.
Sure.
There is an article, and I can't remember off the top of my head now. I feel like it's on Polygon, but I might be wrong.
I think I know what article you're talking about. It was the where a woman.
You're not even gonna let me tell the story. You're just gonna be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Here, split.
No. I thought you had forgotten what article it was. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I can't remember where it is if anyone's looking for it.
It's a Polygon article. You explain, I'll find it.
Okay. Yes, Gorath, please do mute us. There's an article written by a woman who is a gamer, and she actually, tragically, growing up, had the experience where she had a friend of hers that she knew virtually who ended up committing suicide, who had been talking to her the night of, and she was trying to talk her down and was not successful. And so when she got to the point of the Kate story, she also had the same experience that I did, that I was surprised only, 20 or 30% of gamers had the experience that we did, where we couldn't save her. And so for the author of the article, it was a huge emotional event. And at first she thought, oh, well, there's no way to save Kate. You just couldn't do it. And then at the end, when they give a score to that and they actually say, well, yeah, 75% of players were able to save Kate, it made her go back and kind of question her life experience. Be like, well, if anyone else was talking to my friend, 10 years ago, would they have been able to save her? Like, did I actually kill my friend? And kind of made her question all of the events in her actual life. And it was a really powerful, really well-written article that really shows you or throws a light on the fact that interactive video games can have so much more of an impact on you than something like a movie, because you are actually controlling the events. And then especially when there's a score, or in the case of all of these story type adventure games, you get to know how everybody else did. So you can compare yourself in your game to everyone else. And that's really interesting. But in this case, where it's such a powerful moment, to have that scored and then shown to you is just, I found the article really, really, really interesting. And I think that there is a little bit of an onus for, not that I'm saying that this kind of content shouldn't be in games, because, it could be a trigger for people. That's not where I'm going. But I think it's really interesting. And I'm wondering if maybe instead of, it's such a pivotal moment in the adventure that it is the kind of thing that you would traditionally have a score. How many people saved saved Kate, and how many people didn't. But I'm wondering if maybe going forward in adventure gaming, maybe this is something you don't assign a score to. I don't know, Ryan, do you think that would have, changed your experience at all if you didn't know how many people saved and didn't save Kate?
That's actually a really good point. I wonder if that would have, for me, I had saved Kate. So for me, it was interesting to see how many people did not save Kate, because it seems to be a normal thing that these adventure games do. Is like they show you, oh, here's how your friends did, here's how the world did. And you can kind of either be like, yeah, I think I picked the right choice and the rest failed, or it's the opposite, as was with this choice. It was so binary, right? Like a character lived or died, and you cared about this character, whether you snooped through her garbage, took her calls, or ignored her completely, right? She was a pretty pivotal character. So in this sense, maybe they should have withdrawn the score for it and kind of just allowed it to be more of a water cooler point rather than a instant feedback of what other people were doing. I think it would have been interesting to remove the score and just have it be a discussion, right?
Yeah, and like I say, I don't think that this kind of content should be removed from games whatsoever. I'm not a censor kind of person saying, oh, we should censor out any potential issues, any trigger stuff, any violence, all that kind of stuff. If it adds to your story, have at her. And in the end, if you are the creator and you think it adds to your story, who am I to tell you it doesn't add to your story? So again, like I'm not in that camp. I'm definitely in the, I guess, free speech, free creation. It's my choice not to play what I find offensive. But in this case, you don't really have a choice. You don't have a choice of playing through the suicide scene or not. And you also don't have a choice of whether you're showing the scores or not. So I think from a video game design perspective, the article brings up some really interesting points, and I would like to see if we're going to see any potential changes to adventure games as a result. So that's all. I just wanted to mention the article because, like I said, I found it really well written. And so it was from, if anyone who is not in the chat room right now who's looking for the article, it is on Polygon. It was written and posted on April 21st. And the article is called, hang on, I'm just going to click on it to see if it's different from the link.
We'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, so it's called Anyone Else Could Have Saved Her. Life is Strange gave my personal tragedy a score. So again, it's really well written.
Yeah. No, I've had my qualms with Polygon, and both articles that we mentioned in this episode were spot on and really well written. So gotta hand it to them on that front. And yeah, that article brings up good points about like trigger warnings and that possibly being a way to allow you to skip certain pieces of content without spoiling that content for others, right? So it's a difficult balance.
Well, yeah, and that is absolutely the balance. So
let's finish up Val's email here. Bottom line, this is an interesting game. Not much was revealed in the second episode, and it was kind of dull, but I think it was necessary to set up the story and where it is going to go. I never played a Telltale game to completion, so I am interested to see where this game is going to lead to. I promised myself that this would be the first episodic game I would complete, and I'm going to do it. Oh, and one last thing. Did you guys hear about the Mass Effect 4 info that leaked on Reddit? Did we hear about the Mass Effect info that leaked?
I heard about the leak, but I didn't pay attention. I purposely was just like, nope.
It's such I'm not going to spoil it, and I don't think there's a lot to spoil, but it's just so unfiltered, like, info dump that is so markety survey bullplop that it's like you either drill into it and sort out like really key portions of the game that could be cut because this is so early, or it's like, what is this? I'm staring at a pile of ones and zeros. I don't know how to make of this. So yeah, it leaked. It sucks, but we're going to get a much more focused presentation at E3 in just a month. So why spoil it for ourselves? But
exactly.
It is exciting to start seeing this content pop up.
And I'm really moving to the extreme side of the camp of, don't watch trailers, don't do any of that stuff, because everything is becoming so spoilery. Even if it's just a trailer for a movie or something, or a trailer for a game, like half the time you watch it and you go, oh, well, that's clearly the final scene, so I'm trying it also helps with my expectations too, because I don't go in thinking, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. I just kind of go in without any knowledge, and then everything is a surprise. It's the same as those like funny movies where all the jokes are in the trailer. It's like, if you never see the trailer, the jokes are friggin' hilarious. If you've seen the trailer 18,000 times, you're just like, oh right, okay, yeah, that happened. So I'm not doing any spoilery stuff for Mass Effect 4. Like, I see it and I'm just like, nope, close window.
I did that with Dragon Age Inquisition, and I think that really helped my enjoyment of the game. Like, I literally watched like the first trailer that came out, and I'm like, yep, sold. And I didn't watch anything else until the game. It was tough, but super worth it. And I've also done that with Witcher 3, which I'm looking forward to playing in the next couple weeks. So, yeah. Good.
Yeah, thanks very much for the email, Val. That was great. Really well thought out, and that's why we didn't go through it last week, because we just we had too much stuff to talk about last week, and really we had too much that we're running way long this week. So we are going to wrap it up now. So you can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on A-Move TV along with other fabulous podcasts, including Into the Nexus, Campaign Roundtable, The Angry Chicken, and A-Move Radio. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GIS Gamer. Ryan is at R Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find the show on Facebook and Google+. If you'd like to email the show and let us know what you think about Colin's comments or about our conversation around paying for, I almost called it DLC, paying for mods in Skyrim, then feel free to email the show at info@gamersinpodcast.com. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.